How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Debate 'em All. This is the series where I go to Twitter, I ask you for your hot takes and opinions on Pokemon, and I give you my opinion on your opinion here on this video right now. Before we get into the video really quick, I do want to say we have Team Hood shirts. They are on sale forever. They're not limited edition or anything, so if you want to go ahead and grab yourself a Team Hood shirt, then do it at your own leisure. But I just figured I'd plug them again, you know, it helps me out. You can get yourself a cool shirt from it. And also, channel members. We now have channel members, which is essentially just like subscribing on Twitch, which I know on YouTube subscribing is free. On Twitch, you pay $5 a month for it because you follow on Twitch for free. Confusing, but you can join. There's a join button below this video and also just on the front of my channel. If you click that, you can pay $5 a month. You get a little badge with emotes, and the more channel members we have, the more emotes we get. And also we're going to post videos early once we've got quite a good few channel members to actually post videos too. And by that I mean on my community tab, I'm going to you know, before the video goes live for everybody else, maybe a couple hours, maybe a day or two, it just depends honestly. I'll figure out a system for it, but that is a perk that I do plan on sticking to if you guys like channel members. Anyways, let's get into some debating. I do also want to say, if you guys want to go ahead and leave your opinions on everything I cover in this topic, or just the things that interest you, then please feel free. I love seeing what you have to say. And also, if you want to leave your own hot takes in the comments, I might read through some of them and I might include some of them in the next video. Right now I've been using Twitter because I've got a lot on Twitter, but once I've kind of siphoned through all those, I'll look at YouTube. So be sure to leave your hot takes in the comments. Anyways, the first hot take we have is the fairy type isn't the strongest in the game. People just overhype it because it's the newest type added. Well, okay, I will say the fairy type probably isn't the strongest in the game. It's probably top 3. I think like the 3 strongest types is typically fairy, steel, and dragon. I think those are kind of like the holy trinity of types. Dragon, because dragons just have really ridiculously good stats, along with like nothing really resists dragon types. There's not that many types that resist their moves, so they can just fire off dragon claws and, you know, it's good. Steel type, because they have so many resistances and are, if you slap a steel type on any Pokemon, it usually becomes good. And then yeah, fairy type. Fairy type is obviously the newest type added. It is a phenomenal type. But I will say it's probably not the best, but it's easily top 3. And I don't know if that's really something of opinion. It's just fairy is a really good type. Pokemon games don't need a concrete narrative. The sense of adventure in each game would be more than enough without story beats potentially bogging down the journey. Gens 1 and 2 did fine without having any solid story. All major events were just great moments, not heavy plot pieces. Yes, 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 I do agree. Of course, I think Gen 3 onwards, Pokemon kind of tried to go harder with the story. But like in Gen 1 and 2, the storyline wasn't really, I guess, I mean, you could argue that the reason why Gen 1 and 2 didn't have that much is because of limitations, but also, I don't know, I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee so much, because it wasn't bogged down by all this storyline stuff. It felt more like my own adventure. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not really asking for a Breath of the Wild type Pokemon game, but a Pokemon game where the storyline isn't like constantly stopping you and forcing you into a specific direction. That's what I want. And from the looks of the Sword and Shield map, it looks like we are going to have a choice as to which gym we take on in which order, which is going to be pretty cool. I mean, that could be completely wrong. I could be wrong. But by the looks of the map, like, it's constant crossroads, and every crossroad leads to a stadium or whatever. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to Sword and Shield, and I think Sword and Shield might give us that sense of adventure that Pokemon is kind of lost over the years. Since the switch to 3D, Pokemon designs have shown more originality and personality both in concept and in game. Yes, of course, because, you know, I will argue that some Pokemon do look worse. But there are also some Pokemon that were saved by 3D. Okay, so Arcanine looks awful in 3D because in sprite form, he's got like this really cool stance. He's really, you know, badass looking. In 3D, he's awful. I mean, I can understand because like I guess getting an Arcanine to have this really fancy stance would maybe look a bit awkward in 3D. But I'm always going to be somebody that prefers the pixel days of Pokemon, I think, because I just love sprite work and pixel art, and also just because of how much personality they have. But I will agree that a lot of Pokemon were saved by 3D, and also like you see a lot more. You see a lot more of the Pokemon. You know, you can, you know, and if you look at the Pokedex, you can rotate their 3D model, and you can like get, you know, look at all these little design elements you didn't know about. Magnezone is the biggest example of a Pokemon that looks way better in 3D than he does in his pixel form. Like I used to really heavily dislike Magnezone, but since the switch to 3D, I'm like, yo, he's like a UFO. He's so cool. So yeah, it's kind of 50-50 for me. I do agree with you, but I also prefer, I think personality-wise, I prefer how the sprite work did it. Spin-offs are just as good as main series. Just because the main mechanics of them isn't always catch and battle doesn't mean they are bad. They are more story-driven and appeal to a wider audience. I would argue that spin-offs are actually sometimes better than main series games, but I think it all comes down to, and that's the whole point of this series, is your personal preference. It's your own opinion. Some people probably, like, some people just don't like shooting games. Some people just don't like RPGs. You know, like I know Video Game Donkey. He's a big, massive YouTuber. He doesn't like RPGs at all, so he doesn't really cover Pokemon at all. And if he does, it's usually for a meme. And that's fair enough. You know, I think people just need to learn the difference between good and bad and what they like and dislike. Like I can say Taylor Swift is a good singer, I just don't like her music. That doesn't mean I think she's bad. It just means I personally don't enjoy it. You got to learn the difference. And I think that's one thing people don't really understand, like Mishu Dungeon and, you know, Pokemon Ranger. Like some people are like, oh my god, Mishu Dungeon's garbage. It's like, well, it's a good game, you just don't enjoy it. You know, like so yeah, I would argue some spin-off games. Isn't like Persona 5 a spin-off game? Like from like the Persona series? Like I don't know, I could be completely wrong about that, but you know, like some spin-off games are better than main series. It just depends what you're into, really. And yeah, Pokemon Mishu Dungeon. I like Pokemon Mishu Dungeon more than some of the Pokemon main series games. I'm not even a big RPG fan. I only like Pokemon when it comes to RPGs. But yeah, I love Pokemon Ranger. I've played a little bit of XD and Coliseum. I'm not too deep into them. I can't really say I love them yet, but yeah, there were some really good spin-off games. Squirtle is ugly and looks like Tommy Pickles. Yes. And we've got a bunch of hot takes here from Jamie Keane. I know as soon as I made this tweet, Jamie, he was all over it because Jamie has some interesting opinions on Pokemon. Gen 5 was peak Pokemon graphics. No, Gen 5 wasn't. I've said this in the last video, so I won't talk about it too much. But I didn't really like how Gen 5 looked overworld-wise, but the sprites, yes. I will say the sprites they are phenomenal. They're really well animated. The sprites are amazing, but the overworld graphics, the character, ugly. I'm sorry. Pokken and Smash have done a better job of showing off 3D Pokemon personality than any main games in X and Y. I mean, yeah, 100%. But you also have to take into account that Pokken and, you know, Smash only have like what? Like Smash has like 10 Pokemon. Pokken has like what? Nearly 20? Compare that to like 800. Obviously, it's going to be the case. But I'm confident that Pokemon Sword and Shield will make a lot of Pokemon's 3D models look better. I think the 3D models in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee were like done right, and I was really hoping those 3D models would carry over to Sword and Shield, but I mean, it's the same 3D model, but like it's going to be stylized differently. That's what I mean. It's the same 3D model, it's going to be stylized differently in Sword and Shield, and I don't know if I like them 100%. I just don't want them to look like drained of their color. I really want their colors to be proper. But yes, of course, Pokken and Smash have done a better job showing off Pokemon's personalities. We don't need more dumb mechanics like Megas and Z moves. Refine and perfect those rather than making everything more of a clusterfuck. Half of the fun of team building is coming up with cool sets and different items. Being locked into must-have mechanics just makes things dull. Yes, I agree. That's why I do fear about this this new was there like a leak about like, or like a spec, not a leak, a rumor about the new mechanic this generation being like armor or something. Like personally, I think when it comes to like mechanics like Z moves and megas, for the sake of VGC, I think those items should be one per team, as in like you can have one mega or one Z crystal. And that's it. You shouldn't have one mega, one Z crystal, one armor, one this, one, you know, like I agree, it does dull it down. And I do think they should refine and perfect on things rather than making everything a clusterfuck, as you said. But also on that same breath, I understand, and I've said this to you before, and you know, it's maybe not the best point ever, but I think the reason why they tend to leave mechanics out of old games, like obviously, like for example, in Diamond and Pearl, they included the Underground Explorer kit. They didn't really bring that back for future games, I think, because that's something original and unique to Diamond and Pearl and Platinum and Generation 4, and you know, bringing it forward to the newer generations would, I don't know. I think they try to give people a reason to play their older games. They try to leave features in older games and keep them in older games just so they still have value to them, just so it's not like, I don't know, just so it's almost like the games aren't constantly being upgraded. I mean, they are being upgraded, but maybe make it I think it's more just along the lines of each game has something unique going on with it, and yeah, I think that's the best way I can really put that there. So I understand why they you know, once they finished off with Z moves in Gen 6, they obviously they bring them forward because it is a literal form of Pokemon. It's not like they introduced Deoxys and Deoxys' other forms and didn't bring Deoxys' other forms forward. Like, they're going to obviously bring the forms forward into the later games, but they're just not going to bother making more of those forms. I would like them to go back and make more Mega Evolutions, though. I think refining and perfecting Mega Evolutions would be good. Nerfing Z moves a little bit. I don't know. There's like a lot they could do to refine and perfect, like you said. The reason why I personally didn't really play during much of Sun and Moon is just because Z Crystals. I do not like Z Crystals. Z Crystals are garbage. I really hate them. I like the idea of like Z Belly Drum and also Z Rain Dance. Z Rain Dance puts up the rain and also gives you +1 in your speed. That's pretty cool, and it's not overly broken. Gen 3 had peak post-game. The Savvy Islands and the Battle Frontier were great additions, and that's why Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Emerald are so fantastic to go back to. And that's just what I was saying earlier. If they had Battle Frontier and the Savvy Islands in future games, you wouldn't ever go back and play Fire Red, Leaf Green. And I think Pokemon like that all of their games have value to them. That's why they put Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal on the eShop, because they're like, yeah, people will play these games. They're old, and the graphics aren't the best, but they've got charm and they've got features in them that future games don't. Like Gen 1 has the Mew glitch. People want to go back and play Pokemon Yellow because of the Mew glitch. They're not going to include the Mew glitch in later games. But, you know, Mew glitch was obviously a glitch and not a feature. But you know what I mean? I think every game has to have something special to it, and I think Savvy Islands is Fire Red Leaf Green's thing. Battle Frontier, sadly, is Emerald's thing. Personally, I didn't really play too much of the Battle Frontier, but I understand why people enjoy it so much. And I think if they were to make a Battle Frontier, they wouldn't make a Battle Frontier. It would be something similar. I don't think they would ever remake the Battle Frontier. They've already had their chance, haven't they? Version exclusive have always been one of the best features about main series games. It encourages at least trying some sort of social interaction with trading. 100%. And okay, the reason why I agree with this is probably a little different to your reason, Kristen. And okay, so the reason I think version exclusives were cool. They're not so cool anymore because obviously we've got the GPS or GTS. You know, we can trade with anybody now across the world. But the reason they were cool back in the day is because I mean, it's been so long since we've had sprites that are the same or that are different. But basically, like in Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Silver, the sprites you get in each game are different, and that was like one of the benefits of like the version exclusives. Like Quilava had a different stance in Gold than he did in Silver, and I always loved, you know, it's the same for Diamond and Pearl and all these future games up until Gen 5. Actually, I think it stopped at Diamond and Pearl. I could be wrong. But I would always like go to my friend and be like, yo, what does this Pokemon look like in your game? And you know, we'd go to trade, and then we'd have a look. You know, he's playing Pearl, I'm playing Diamond, and the Pokemon have got like a different stance going on. I think thinking about it, it might have been Diamond and Platinum that had like the different the different stances. I can't quite remember, but one of the reasons I did enjoy trading with friends is because I enjoyed having, like, you know, how different the sprites were, like, you know, how the different stances that they had. I think that's one feature of Pokemon I miss, is that, you know, each game had different, I guess, stances for every Pokemon. I think that's really underrated and cool, and we're probably never going to get it back now. But yeah, that's why I really enjoyed the whole version exclusive thing. And then lastly, people in the community are way too hostile about which gens or Pokemon they dislike. I'm all for people expressing their distaste, but targeting it to someone while they're talking about how they love said thing is annoying. Also, the name calling is petty AF. Yeah, this is something I wanted to end the video on. I just wanted to have you guys know, like, the last video I uploaded, the title of it was Heart Gold Soul Silver is the worst game. That's not, like, how I title these videos is just a topic from, it's one of the topics from the, you know, this video here. So it's not what I think necessarily, it's just, it's a title. I don't think Heart Gold Soul Silver are the worst games, and even in my video I said it, but my video got a lot of dislikes and people angry at me before they even watched it, and I'm just like, come on guys, please, give me a chance. Even if I did think Heart Gold Soul Silver were the worst Pokemon games, why do you care so much? Like, I'm just expressing how I think, and I don't think you should be so hostile towards each other for our differing opinions. That's what makes us, you know, if we all had the same opinion, it would be so boring. So I wanted to end this video on saying, yes, people are way too hostile about which Pokemon generation they like. Just because I'm not the biggest fan of Heart Gold Soul Silver doesn't mean you have to hate me. It just means I've got different taste. And you know what? Just if you like Heart Gold Soul Silver, I respect it. Good for you, man. Enjoy your Heart Gold Soul Silver, but don't attack me and call me stupid or like, well, Callum doesn't have good taste. Like, my taste is just different to yours. Doesn't mean it's bad. I'm not faulty because I don't like Heart Gold Soul Silver. Like, come on, man. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Debate 'em All. If you want to go ahead and drop a like on the video for enjoying and stuff, then feel free to. It's appreciated. Check out the shirts, the channel members, and also leave your hot takes in the comments. I'll take some for the next video probably. Thanks for watching, guys. This goes up every Thursday. See you then.